I thought, okay, I'll get my motorcycle license instead. 17, I took a riding course, and that started it all off. They told me, your knee will never be the same. And that's when I realized, hey, when things happen to you, you don't always bounce back. Huh.
We chose you because you're bringing something different to the table that the person on the other end, and it is a person, not a bot, is going to know who you are, right? So you need to sell yourself, be confident in yourself, and know that you are worthy and that you do belong here.
Today, I am beyond excited to shine the light on an absolute powerhouse, Zoe Verbauwhede, the sales and brand manager of Leatt. She's not only the queen of protection, making sure all riders stay safe in their sports, but she's also a force to be reckoned with in action sports herself. From dirt biking to mountain biking and beyond, her impact on our community goes far beyond her title. She's an inspiration, a leader, and a fierce advocate for women in sports. Get ready to hear her story and how she's breaking barriers in everything that she does. And I'll catch you on the other side. All right. Well, hey, hi, and hello. I'm Angelisa, your host for Braap Babe's Throttle Talk. And today we have a very special guest on the show. We have Zoe, our wonderful Leatt sales and brand manager. She's sitting down with us today, and she's going to share a little bit more about her story and her role with Leatt. So welcome, Zoe. I'm so excited that you are here and joining me on the show.
Thanks, Angelisa. I'm stoked too. I've listened to a few of your podcasts already, so that's cool. Glad to be here.
Yay! Yay! That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
let's start this off. So let's learn a little bit more about you, where you're coming from, and how you got into action sports.
Sounds good. I'll try to be short with my stories.
It's all good.
Okay, so
That's
yeah,
okay.
how I got into action sports. It's kind of a long story, but really like the beginning. Basically, like as a teen, I lived in East Van with my family. Um, so I used to take the bus everywhere to go to school and to get anywhere really, and it always took over an hour because the bus was always late and it was painful. And Vancouver rains a lot, and yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of miserable at times. So. Um, Yeah, I didn't have the support of my parents really to learn how to drive a car.
Yeah.
So even my stepdad didn't want to teach me, and he was actually a driving instructor. So, so the
Interesting.
weird thing about that was, like we had a Honda Civic, it was really old, and the clutch was about to go. So my mom and my stepdad were driving it, and then my brother would drive it when he came home sometimes, and they were like, "Yeah, if we get a fourth person on here, especially a learner." That clutch is going. So there was no learning how to drive at that point, and I understand. I think I was a bit annoyed back then, but I am someone who's klutzy, and I things break around me. It's just an aura that I give off. I don't know. A lot electronics, especially, they don't work. Even if I'm just close to them, I don't even have to touch them. So I'm not allowed to touch the remote at home or any kind of electronics. So luckily, I'm married to a mechanic, so he fixes all the things that I break, which is awesome. But yeah, so back then at the time, a driving or a riding course were the same price. And in my mind, if I didn't have the car to learn on, I
Mhm.
thought a motorcycle is obviously cheaper than a car. I mean, it's half the vehicle, right? Like, so I didn't really have a concept of what things cost. So I thought, okay, I'll get my motorcycle license instead. So I did that. I took a course. And then I also was on this weird kick at that time that I thought I wanted to do things that I never thought I would do. And this was also one of them. So I wasn't very independent. I was the youngest. Was always a follower, kind of didn't have a lot of leadership in me. So I thought I'll go try things out of my comfort zone. So this was definitely one of them. So at 17, I took a riding course, and that started it all off.
Wow. Okay. I was going to ask what age was this? And okay, so if it was your stepdad, that's the instructor. What was his thoughts when you decided to do this?
Well, he wasn't happy, but
Okay.
like he didn't really have much of a say.
Right,
It,
right.
my mom was really cool about it. She's like, "Okay, yeah, do whatever makes you happy." She's a bit of a hippie, so it was always kind of like whatever you want as long as you're happy. So she was worried a bit, but not she didn't show it.
Okay,
My
okay.
stepdad thought it was foolish, but
Right.
I didn't care.
Wow. Okay, so you got your motorcycle license at 17 before you got a driving license.
I actually
Wow.
didn't get my driving license till I was 24.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I want to learn a little bit more. So I guess what was your teen to early 20s were like, just driving around, showing up to places with a motorcycle? Like you had to have been like the only one in your group, I
Well,
guess, or
not, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, sort of my group of friends for sure. But I had my boyfriend was into bikes. He was just kind of getting into it too. So I think that
okay.
might have helped with the interest for sure. I can't really remember, but it kind of all happened at the same time. Like he bought a motorcycle without a license and I went to do the course. So we kind of went opposite routes into it, but I didn't have a bike, right? So I actually took the bike that the course lent me to do the course and everything, but I didn't actually have a motorcycle yet. Um, so then my boyfriend ended up giving me his bike when he was done with it when I was 19. So I didn't actually have my own vehicle till then. Um, but yeah,
But that's such a cool cool intro. It's like this is how I got into it. I got my
everything
motorcycle
I
license
do,
at 17.
everything I've done sort of backwards.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so I guess that's kind of the history of how you got into it then.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's the start.
Okay, and then so born and raised East Van, Vancouver area.
No, no, actually, I
Okay.
was born in England, and then I was actually raised in Belgium and France. I moved a fair amount, and then moved to Vancouver when I was 14.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So and then so here you are. Where are you located now?
So I'm in West Kelowna in BC,
Okay.
and I've been here since 2008.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Beautiful
Longest I've been
area.
anywhere. Yeah, it is beautiful.
Do you because you're in it's West Kelowna you said, not just Kelowna, West Kelowna. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ride Bear Creek often?
I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's literally 10 minutes down the road for me. So
Oh
it's
my
perfect. Yeah.
gosh, that's amazing. We're actually heading there tomorrow for Thanksgiving.
Are you? No way.
Yeah,
Okay, well maybe I'll
yeah.
see
Yeah. Okay, if you're around, absolutely.
you. Yeah,
It's one
for
of my
sure.
favorite places to go.
Have you been since the fires?
I haven't. It's been a while. Like it's been a couple years, so
Yeah,
things have changed.
it's a lot. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot. But the trails are still there. It's just it looks really different
Different.
for half of it. The other half is still pretty good. So
Were you affected by the fires at all?
yeah,
Or
we were surrounded, honestly. Like we thought we lost our house. But we didn't. So
okay.
it was honestly like a miracle because our house is made of wood. It's like a cabin, basically a wood cabin, and there's trees kind of touching the house. There's wood piles everywhere. It's not fire safe at all. And
Yeah.
we had stuff growing in the gutters. All the
Okay.
things you shouldn't do,
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but we got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, the firefighters were on it.
Yes, they were. Oh, that's good to hear. Oh, I didn't realize
Yeah.
how close you were to them. So,
Yeah, like
yes.
there's two houses up this way, a house is gone, two houses that way, a house is gone. Behind
No
us, there's
way.
houses gone. And the fire came up to the houses in front of us, basically. So, and between the
Jeez.
houses.
Wow, what a tragedy that is. And that was just last year, wasn't it?
The
Or
summer, yeah, last
yeah, last
August.
summer.
Yeah,
Okay.
last summer, yeah.
So, wow. That's crazy. Well, happy to hear that everything's intact. And
Thank you.
and then yeah, you're still able to ride the trails and they're not too bad. I mean, I haven't been since, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean the trails are still good, right? It's just it looks different. And I went in there last weekend with my friend Carolyn, and she kind of showed me some areas I hadn't been to since the fires, and like the
Mm.
trails are still really good. It's just, there's lots of greenery coming up now, and it feels like a new beginning. So trying
Okay.
to look at
Okay.
it in a positive way. And
For
I felt like
sure.
traction was better. There was
Oh.
more soot in the earth, so I felt like it was better riding. So,
Okay. Okay. Looking forward to it. And yeah, I've actually heard that it looks different. The trails are great, but everything's just like it's not the same. So
not the same exactly.
yeah, yeah. Oh man. Well, okay, we kind of veered off track, so
Yes.
let's get back. I mean, I love hearing this, but I want to know because you are a mountain biker as well, dirt biker, off road adventure bikes. Is it called adventure bikes, by the way?
It is. Yeah,
Okay,
adventure
okay.
biking. Yeah.
I never know. Like, there's yeah, supermoto. Trying to remember all the
So
names
many.
for all the different disciplines out there. Okay, so let's talk about each one. How long have you been mountain biking, dirt biking, and I guess adventure biking for?
Yeah, so actually so my first bike was a sport bike, so I was on the street with
Okay.
sport bike basically, and so I did that. Well, I still do that sometimes. But then when we moved to Kelowna in '08, I obviously all the dirt biking around, and I was in the industry then too. I was working for a distributor as a rep, and visiting all the bike shops around, and everybody was dirt biking and quadding, and the street biking is great around here, but it feels like there's so many more options if you go off road. So I started to get into dirt biking. It was a huge, steep learning curve. I definitely advise people to start on the dirt first. Like I said, I do everything backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but in Vancouver, dirt biking wasn't really on the radar. It
Yeah.
was like an hour and a half to drive anywhere. You need a truck, you need somewhere to store your bike. Like in the city, it's just not that easy. So we, yeah, so I started dirt biking, and it took me probably 10 years to get comfortable.
Yeah. Okay.
And then after that, mountain biking, I just started doing that 5 years ago. Um,
Okay.
I was always like, I need a motor. I'm not interested in pedaling. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a bit lazy that way.
Yeah.
Uh,
Me
but
too.
I was kind of forced into it. And I love
Okay.
it. I do love it. I still hate pedaling, but I love the downhill. So I like to
Okay.
go fast.
Yeah.
And then adventure biking, I just got that this year. So this spring, I bought an adventure bike, and it's totally new to me, and it's really fun. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, okay, a few things here. Adventure biking. What's the difference between adventure biking and I guess street moto or whatever you called it
Yeah.
last?
Street biking, yeah,
Street
so
biking.
sport
Okay.
biking, I guess. Um,
Okay.
Actually, so the bike I bought is a really big adventure bike, and the reason I bought it was I thought I would prefer to just stay on the road with it. So,
Okay.
adventure bikes typically are bikes that can go on and off road, so they're street legal. You get insurance and all that. Um, but depending on what type of riding you want to do, like a lot of people spend most of their time off road with it, then you put more aggressive tires on, but they still have to be DOT if you're going to be on the road at some point. So
I see.
then you've got luggage. It's kind of like a really big dirt bike,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
you're not, most people are not doing single track with it. There are some, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but most people aren't. So with my bike, it's an 1190, so it's really tall. It's big. It's got tons of power. My thought was I'm going to stay on the road with it. I can load it up with luggage. I'm sitting more upright than my sport bike. I'm at the age where the position on a sport bike hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to sort of retire that
Okay.
mentally,
Yeah.
even though it's hard. But um, the adventure bike is a lot more comfortable for long distances.
Okay.
And it handles awesome on the street. Like I could lean it over. Like I've got really good street tires on it.
Okay.
But what you can do is you can go off road a little bit. What I did was I rented a 790. Um, I was just traveling to Poland recently, and I rented that bike, went on a rally, and they actually taught me how to use a road book. So you're following these instructions essentially, and most of it was off road. So that was a smaller bike. It was a little easier to handle off road, you know, but it was more like gravel roads. Like there weren't a lot of i- difficult trails or anything like that. Although we did
Okay.
get to a spot where it was deep sand, and that was tricky because my tires were like 70% road, 30% off road.
Okay.
So they were not ideal for that, but it
Yeah.
was a ton of fun. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So you're really enjoying the adventure bike, and then sports bike. You're gonna have to send me photos so I can like plug them in here so other people can see. But because I'm kind of naive, I'm sorry for my ignorance, but I'm not too familiar with like both. I know a little bit about adventure bikes because I actually follow quite a few women on YouTube that like
Yeah.
show their adventure bikes and how they go, camping and all the stuff with their bikes. I love it.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah, with sport biking, tell me a little bit more.
So I don't know. Have you ever watched like MotoGP racing or it's like the F1 of motorcycles.
Okay,
So it's
yep,
like the
yep.
fastest, baddest like factory bikes out there, and it's the global kind of series that people watch. And
Okay,
we follow that. My husband and I follow that fairly religiously. And I'm a fangirl of Valentino Rossi, and like he's retired now, sadly.
okay, yeah.
But so big fans of that. And basically you're in in an aggressive riding position. So you're leaning all the way over the tank forward. Like you're really kind of like I'm trying to figure out how do you say it?
Like, I think I've seen. Yeah, you're like basically kind
You're
of
tucked.
yeah tucked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're tucked in. So you're leaning on your wrists quite a bit.
Okay.
Um, your feet are tucked in completely. And then if you are
Okay.
racing on a track, you can be very aggressive and hang off the bike, and it can be very physical if you're doing that. I did
Okay.
do track days, and I did not multiple ones. I took a race course, but I never did race. I'm not a racer
Okay.
in any of the segments.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really fun. You just go really fast, and I do that. I ride fast on the street, and it's dangerous, but the adrenaline is, I think
Yeah.
I'm just an addict.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And I
Yeah,
love
I like
that
going
you took
fast.
a course on how to race as well at the track.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I never planned on racing. That was not ever something I was interested in doing myself. But I knew that taking the course would show me where my limits were on leaning over and all that. And because the bike usually can outperform most riders, right? It's just
Yeah.
the rider needs to know how to handle it.
Sure.
So I learned a lot. I learned that I could lean way over even in the rain, the
That's
limits of
great.
the traction. And then I hit a painted line and crashed. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't do that. So,
Right.
so it
Right.
made me more confident as a rider for sure.
Okay. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, I think that is probably one of the best things is like taking as much courses to like gain all that knowledge just to enhance your riding skills. That's awesome.
I think it's important for people to understand that you can take a course at any level that you're at and learn something, take away from it. But you have to put the effort in to get something
Yeah.
out of it. And
Yeah.
I think it's always worth it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And I also find that a lot of these coaches or, other people that are instructing, everyone has like such great knowledge, and it's important to like take the ones that resonate, because sometimes not everything's gonna work for you, but like that one person that taught you this skill is gonna work, and maybe not that person, but they taught you something else, like just taking bits of
yeah.
information from everyone.
Well, and I find sometimes like things will click with certain people, and even though you've been told it for years, And then all of a sudden someone puts it a certain way and it just hits you and you're like, oh, I get it now.
Yes.
so, so I think that's pretty awesome, but it could
Yeah.
take time.
Yeah. Okay, and let's talk about dirt biking. You were saying it's taken you a while to kind of, I guess, figure it out. Tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, so I think so on the street, anytime that I had a crash, it was to do with road surface, whether it was raining or gravel on the road. I would hit the front brake and slide out. And so when I started dirt biking, I was terrified because of using the brakes. I just didn't want to use them because everything's gravel, everything's rocky, everything's loose.
Right.
Usually on the street, by the time it's loose, it's too late. So I had no idea how to handle it. I didn't take a course. I didn't have anyone showing me other than my husband. And uh, so born and raised in Vancouver, didn't dirt bike growing up, none of that. So we were kind of
Right.
learning at the same time.
Okay.
So he couldn't really teach me. He would just say, just get it started. It's like, I'm trying. I don't know how. Yes. So it was a very frustrating time, probably for both of us. Um, and I think it took me a long time because I sort of gave up. Like, I think the first year I rode 3 times.
Okay.
I was like, didn't love it, hated how I felt, didn't feel empowered, didn't have a clue what I was doing, didn't have any guidance.
Oh, yeah.
And that went on for years, years.
Okay.
Um, and I finally also was on a smaller bike that was not the right bike for me and also not the right one to start on, probably.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And
What bike was that?
equipment is everything.
Yeah.
Well, I know this bike has worked for some people, so for me, it wasn't the
Yeah.
right one, but it
Yeah.
was a CRF 150F, the play
Yeah.
bike.
Okay.
And it didn't have a starter. So getting it started was hard. It was heavy.
Yeah.
It had small wheels, and I'm quite tall. So it was really awkward, and I couldn't even bump start the thing,
Okay.
so it was frustrating. But then I moved to a KX 250F, a motocross bike, but I only rode it in the bush. But it had big wheels, so I could get over things. I could actually kick start it properly. It started easier than the other bike did, and it was just a better fit for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
You're not the first person to say that about the CRF 150F.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see women on it. I had my good friend, she was on it, and just the struggles, the kickstarting. It was, yes, not an easy bike for the trails. I think it would be great for maybe track riding, but I think with the trails it's a little bit tougher. At least that's what
Yeah.
I've seen other women kind of tackle with.
I think the small wheels is the problem, and I think this is
Yeah.
what is a huge detriment to most women because a lot of ladies tend to be a little shorter, and it's one of at the time or like for a while, it's kind of been one of the only options.
Yeah.
And the thing with small wheels, you can't get over the same things. You can't get over you'll have what we call baby heads, like rocks on the trail, and if those wheels are too small, they're gonna get bounced off those rocks instead of just riding over them. So
Yeah.
it's I really feel for the ladies that are shorter because I've
Hmm.
always said if I was short, no way I'd be doing any of this. So
Yeah.
when I see
Yeah.
people that are and that they're riding and doing awesome, I'm so impressed
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had the drive.
Yes. I think there's something to be said about like touching the ground. You want a bike that, yeah, you can touch the ground, and it's scary. It's scary when you can't. So,
You want to feel in control, right? It's
yeah.
feeling out of control that's the worst feeling.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And what are you riding now?
So I have a few bikes. I'm actually in my
Oh,
garage right now, which is my office as well.
oh, that's
And
awesome. I love it.
so my sport bike is a Ducati Monster, an S4 RS. It's
Okay.
my dream bike. My husband bought it for me for my 30th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I barely ride it now because it hurts.
Okay.
Um, yeah. But I love it and I'll probably never sell it. So
Yeah.
And then my dirt bike is a KTM 300 XCW, a 2022 version, and I love it too. It's my first two-stroke. I
Yeah.
was only ever allowed four strokes. And when I say allowed, um, my husband is my mechanic, so
Yeah. Yeah.
he has all the say in what I
Yes.
ride. And he was pretty scared of me riding a two-stroke
Yeah.
because of the
That's fair.
throttle control. And as I mentioned before, I'm a klutz and things happen to me. And what I've learned over the years is that because I like going fast, fast isn't a problem, but my short game sucks.
Okay.
So, so any finesse, I have no finesse.
Okay.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it, but it is a problem for me. So, and then my street bike is a KTM 1190R,
Okay.
my adventure bike, sorry, but I ride it on the street mainly. And then I also actually have a snow bike too that
No way.
um, I'm done with. So if anybody wants to buy a sweet snow bike, it's all set up, ready to go. But it's a, Yamaha 450 F. Why is it 450F?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's exciting. Well, might be in the market for a snow bike, so
All
we
right.
can chat later.
Sounds good.
Okay, but well, tell me a little bit about your snow bike experience. Love it, hate it.
Yeah. I've I've now figured out now that it's 8% fun. Uh, when you have a great day, a good day, it's like 120% fun.
Yeah.
But we've had such bad winters lately.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think because I'm getting older, I'm starting to really worry about things. I think too, when you're out there, it really is life and death, like
Mm-hmm.
you could freeze to death pretty easily. You could get stuck. You could get buried in an avalanche. There's all sorts of, actually, that's probably my biggest fear.
Yeah.
So I found that I ride scared
Yeah.
and I don't like that. And I've always
Mm-hmm.
wondered, like, why do people watch scary movies? Like, why do they like doing that to their nervous system? Like, so I'm sitting here
Mm-hmm.
going, what am I trying to prove? Like, I have nothing to
Mm-hmm.
prove. I've ridden snow bikes since I want to say 10 years.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, but it's give or take 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of at the point now where it's like, I don't want to do it. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to be cold. I don't want to be
Yeah.
digging myself out. There's so much digging. I don't want to
Yeah.
fight with my husband on the hill. That happens all the time
Mm-hmm.
because he's worried about me. So then he's on edge
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it's not healthy. So I'm over it. But when you have a good day,
Yeah.
oh, it's like floating on clouds. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, you know what? I'm like nodding my head the entire time because I kind of am in the same boat, Like, I don't know if it's the age that is getting to me. I had, kind of not a bad experience, like nothing happened, but I couldn't make it home on time. I had kids at home with a babysitter. Babysitter gave me like, no, I need to leave at this time. And there was no way of me getting home at that time. And so it put me in a perspective where it's like, I'm kind of over trying to get out into like some crazy zone just for the experience of it when it's like I'm stressed out the entire time. I don't know if I'm going to make it home. The avalanches, like I'm cold, it just becomes a bit more of a stressful event than a fun event. So
For
I
sure.
definitely can relate.
And I'll also say that I'm definitely not a backwoods person in the sense that I have no sense of direction.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I was not in control at all. Like I was following the guys,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
if we got separated, I'd be dead. Like
Right.
pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And then if
Yeah.
something happened to them, I don't know if I would have had the wherewithal to know what to do to save them. Even though I took an Abbey course and all of that, like it's one thing to do the course, but if you're not practicing with your riding friends,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost pointless. And these guys have been they've sledded for years and like they know the backcountry like the back of their hands and they
Mm-hmm.
are Superman and they don't need the course. They don't, half of them didn't even have avalanche
Right.
bags,
Right.
and I
Right.
miss safety. So I'm just like, I had
Yeah.
everything. But if I didn't know
Yeah.
how to use it,
Then, yeah.
you'd feel pretty stupid if something happened, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I feel you. And I feel like a lot of us can relate to that for sure.
Yes. A lot of guys are invincible, right?
Yeah. Right. I don't know. Yeah. The same thing is like, I just want to, like, enjoy the winter. It is cold, but if I can get out and just go to a safe zone, I don't need to like explore and see anything, Um, yeah, it's that's all I want to do is just go to a safe zone, play around, and I'll have the best time. That's all I need.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need to go
Yeah.
off cliffs or anything like that.
No, no. I mean, maybe, but
Some people like that. That's cool. It's just not
yeah.
me. I
I,
mean, I've
I
also
don't.
fallen down cliffs, you know? So, like, I've got a nice, oh, I don't know if you can see it, a snow bike scar here from
Oh
going
no.
over and my bike like landing on me, and then the peg went right through all my layers. And
No.
it's a good story. I mean, I don't mind the scar, but it's like
Oh
I don't need
no.
more.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh, and the peg. Like the peg can slice you up pretty good too. Oh
Especially
man.
snow bike pegs. They're pretty aggressive.
Yes. Oh man. Well, yeah, thanks for sharing. I'm stoked that you mentioned about your snow bike and giving us a little taste of your experience. And but yeah, I feel you. I'm kind of there as well as for the winter sports. I think it's just also my old age where it's like I'm getting too cold. I want to go inside.
But I couldn't imagine. I mean, you've got kids too, right? So like,
Mhm.
yeah, you don't you have other people to think about, whereas
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, my
Right.
cats would miss me, but they'd be
Right. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just my self-preservation fear, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's legit. Yeah. It's it's a thing. Okay, well, we talked a little bit about all of your bikes. Love it. All of your fun toys. So, my question is do you find that with all of these sports combined, like it's helping you in all areas? Like, do they all work together?
Oh gosh,
Mm,
yeah. Oh,
okay.
definitely. Like the cross training between all of the riding has been awesome. Like
Mm,
I started mountain biking 5 years ago, and my husband he's always wanted me to mountain bike, but I always refused about because I wanted the motor, right? And
hmm
I finally said, okay, let's try it. And he was kind of scared. Like he's always been really worried that I'd go over the bars a lot because of the finesse in
Right.
braking
Right.
or the lack of finesse.
hmm
But I picked it up really quick. I picked it up the pedal, like the fitness and the pedaling is a whole other story. Like I don't think you can train other than riding, you can't really train for that. I mean, yes,
hmm
you can be fit and stuff, but it's
hmm
to be good at pedaling, you just have to pedal a lot.
hmm
So anyway, um, yeah, I think I like the downhill part, like because dirt biking, like braking on the dirt bike is very similar. The fact that the terrain is really loose sometimes, it's all really, really similar. So that definitely helped me. But I will say that now when I dirt bike, I do go over the bars more than ever before. And it's because I'm switching from mountain bike to dirt bike from mountain bike to dirt bike a lot.
Okay.
And
Okay.
obviously your rear brake on the mountain bike is on the right and your front brake on the moto is on the right. So, and
Right.
I
Right.
am a queen at using my rear brake. I use rear brake way more than front brake. I know it's not right, but it works for me.
Yeah.
I'm Yeah, it's just how I slowly learned to use the brakes because I was so scared at first.
Right.
Um, and so now I find that on a steep downhills on the dirt bike, for example, I'll hit the front brake thinking it's the rear brake.
Oh shoot.
And then I
Yeah.
washed out like, what? I know how to do this. This isn't hard for me. What the heck is going on? Anyways, so sometimes my brain gets confused, I think.
Yeah. Well,
But I'd say
yeah. Yeah.
overall it's been really good cross training for sure.
Yeah. Okay, yes. The brake thing is a bit confusing for sure. But I was going to say with the downhill, I'm sure with mountain biking downhill has helped with dirt biking downhill
Oh my
other than the
gosh,
brake.
yes. Like I think the bunny hop, I didn't understand it before. Like we always joked that I wasn't air aware. Like I cannot leave the ground,
Okay.
and And with the mountain bike now, like it one day it clicked,
Yeah.
having the just bunny hopping. And I just never loaded the front of my suspension on the dirt bike on purpose. Like I didn't really know to do that. And I'd say it's helped me tons on the dirt bike. So
Wow.
much.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And on the adventure bike too,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome that it can cross over on all of your sports. Cool.
Definitely.
Cool, cool. Okay, well, I have a guest question. Dun, 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 dun. This is a surprise.
Oh.
Let's see. Okay, before we get into our next topic here. So let's see if this works.
Good morning, Braap Babes Throttle Talk. This is Jessie P, and I would like to know what Zoe did in school before she became a badass legend of the motorsports industry. Bye bye. Love you.
Oh, Jesse. She's the best.
Yeah.
Um, well, so yeah, after high school, I actually went traveling for a year. I was in Australia for 9 months or so. And then I've always wanted to be a fashion designer.
No
But
way.
when I came home, it was June, so it was a bit late to apply for September. So I thought, I really like motorcycles, and my boyfriend's really into motorcycles, and he took the mechanics course, and he was so passionate about it. And I thought, I want to understand what he's talking about, and if I'm going to be riding, I'd like to know how to fix my own bike. So I will do the motorcycle mechanics course.
Okay.
So I did that. And it was a 9 month course at the time. I believe it's a lot shorter now. And it's just
Yeah.
the entry level part. Like you have to go back and do basically 4 years in total of training to actually get your red seal. It wasn't my goal to get my red seal. It was just to understand the mechanics.
Sure.
And yeah, it really helped. And then I ended up actually getting a job in parts because of it
Oh,
in a
no way.
dealership. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh my gosh. Well, that's a fun little tidbit. Fun fact.
Yes. I am not a mechanic, though. I have to say that. Yes, I understand how a carburetor works and how an engine works and the clutch and all that. But I am married to a mechanic, so I don't have to do any of that.
Yeah. Okay. I was
He
going to
does it all
ask
for
if
me. Yeah.
perfect.
I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky, but I'm also
Yeah.
actually pretty useless now because I never do it. He does it all.
Right, right. But at least you can
Uh,
understand, and maybe if things like break down on the
oh,
trail or somewhere, you have a general idea, maybe.
yeah, definitely. No, no, for sure. Like I definitely
Yeah,
have some good starting points on what it could be, but
yeah,
I'm not like a trail side fixer or anything like
yeah.
that.
Okay.
I'm just being
Okay.
very honest here.
I love it. I love it. Have you had to fix a bike or wrench a bike on the trails?
Not me, luckily, knock
Okay.
on wood.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no. And again, like this is why I'm so lucky. Like having a mechanic as a partner, like he makes sure my bike is good to go before every ride. Like he checks the tire pressure. He's like, okay, you just need to do this, this, and you'll be good. I'm like, okay, awesome. So like I don't even fill my oil tank. He does that. Like,
Aww.
like I feel weird about it, but it's like he he
Aw.
likes doing it. And then
Aw,
my
that's
bike is always in tip-top shape, so I
yeah.
rarely have problems. Even
Okay.
when I crash, because I crash a lot, I've been really lucky. Like,
Yeah.
oh, one of the big fixes was on the KX, actually. I put a hole through the clutch cover.
Oh
It was like
shoot.
that big.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so I did have to like we made a fire so that I'd stay warm, and then my husband went down to get some JB welds and then came
Yeah.
back. Actually, no, we got to where the truck could go, and then he went to get the truck, and we JB welded it at home. But
I see.
so it wasn't
Okay.
really a trailside fix, but yeah, close.
Yeah. Whoops. Did you land
I'm
on a
hard on
rock or something?
equipment. Yeah, I landed. I fall over high side all the time.
Okay.
My balance is off. I don't know why. So he's always like, "You're tall. Just put your leg out." I'm like, "It's not about that. It's the weight's going over. It's too late. I can't stop it now." So
Right.
I always go over high side. And so,
Okay.
it went like this, kind of like that, and then I landed on top of the side of it, adding weight, and there was a rock underneath, so it just punched through it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not fun.
Yeah, it's not very graceful.
Yeah. But I mean, at least, yeah, you didn't get injured and that you were able to get it to a place where the truck can come pick it up. So,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, crazy. Okay. Well, that was a lot of fun. So I want to know, a little bit more about your sales and brand manager of Leatt. And did I pronounce that right? Leatt?
So it's Leatt.
Leatt. Oh, I am so
Yeah.
sorry.
Don't
Okay,
be.
Leatt.
It's
Leatt.
a lot of people aren't sure.
Yes.
So
Okay,
uh,
Leatt.
I know on the French side they often say Leatt because,
Okay.
again, when there's two T's after a vowel, you say that you pronounce the vowel, but they don't know that. So it's it's all good.
Ah,
It's a name, right? So it's Dr. Chris Liette's last name.
okay.
And so yeah, so a bit about Liette itself. So Liette um, started with Chris Liette. Basically, he's always ridden. He's been a sport bike racer. He mountain bikes. He's actually a pilot as well. He flies planes, and
Okay.
so he's really into motorsports. And he went to a track. It's based in South Africa in Cape Town, and went to a track there to watch a family friend race. And his son was with him. His son was about 4 years old at the time and just about to learn how to ride. And they ended up witnessing their friend's name is Alan Selby. He ended up going over the bars and being injured. So they asked Chris, because Chris Liet is actually a doctor. So they
Okay.
asked Chris to come over and help. And he was unconscious, and so they tried to resuscitate him, but he ended up passing away at the
Oh,
scene.
goodness. Oh,
And it was
man.
really tough because it was a family friend, and Alan actually had young kids at home, just like Chris Liette did. And it really got to Chris. He was kind of like, "This is crazy. Like this is an accident that is so easy to sustain. There must be something on the market to protect you from this sort of injury."
Yeah.
So he obsessed over it. He looked around, he looked everywhere, and there was nothing. And he was just like, this is crazy. So he actually contacted BMW in Germany and asked if he could use their lab to do some testing, and ended up coming up with the first neck brace. And BMW was on
Yeah.
board because they're all about safety as well. And so
Yeah.
they were totally into it.
Wow.
And yeah, so the first neck brace was born in 2004.
Okay, so that would have, I guess that's the first product that Leatt has
Yeah.
designed.
Actually,
Okay.
it was born earlier, but the company was founded in '04. And yeah, the neck
Okay.
brace was the first product. And well, he invented it,
Yeah.
um, and patented it and all that. So
Wow.
it's, yeah, so everything that we do is it's based in science. We're really all about protection. And any kind of research that we do, we always publish because,
Yeah.
if you research it, why not show your proof? So,
Yeah.
So yeah, all of
Yeah.
that's on the website, and we grew from there. I mean, it was just neck braces for 6 or 7 years, and then we realized that they realized I wasn't there yet, but they realized that a lot of other brands' body protection weren't designed to take the neck brace, so it was kind of awkward and weird.
Yeah.
Um, so so it was a natural progression to go into body protection to make sure that it all went together. And then after that, it expanded into helmets and boots and then apparel. And we
Yeah.
did the same on the mountain bike side. Because
Yeah.
actually, I'd say mountain biking, you almost go over the bars more than in moto, depending what kind of riding you're doing. But it's
Right.
pretty risky for both. So yeah. And I think his son started riding a bit later because there was nothing available. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You want
yeah.
to keep your little ones protected. Okay, so I was actually just thinking here in Whistler, the hospital is filled with mountain bikers, like
Oh
injuries. I
yeah.
feel like
Mhm.
there's way more mountain bike injuries than there are like dirt bike. Well, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that, but it feels like
Well,
there are.
I'm with you, and I've thought about this extensively,
Yeah.
and I believe that mountain bikers just wear a lot less protection,
Okay.
especially where you live.
Yes.
dirt bikers, it's normal to see a dirt biker in a body protector and knee guards and boots
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and gloves and helmet, goggles, all that. It's normal.
Yeah.
That's what you wear when you dirt bike.
Yeah.
And now I deal with a lot of the mountain bike pros actually, and some of them in the Sea to Sky. And
Yeah.
I'd say in the last couple of years, they've all gotten interested in dirt biking.
Ah. Yeah.
And I've had to tell them, make sure you wear body protection.
Yeah.
And they're like, huh? No, they don't wear chest or body, usually mountain biking. Like literally all they wear is their helmet, maybe some goggles, maybe some knee
Yeah.
pads. And it's
Okay.
like, come on, guys. Like on a motorcycle, that bike, if you crash into a tree or crash into whatever, that bike could
Mm-hmm.
follow you. I mean, it's a
Mm-hmm.
300-pound bike usually,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's not the same as your mountain bike. It's gonna hurt. So
Yeah.
my theory is dirt bikers generally wear a lot more protection than mountain bikers.
Okay. And I have proof. Okay. I went for my first mountain bike ride. I'm not a mountain biker. Like, I'm the same as you. I don't like to pedal. I'm very lazy. That's why I like the motor. But it was for a stagette. So my girlfriends
Oh,
are all mountain bikers. Well, I show up with my bike, but I'm wearing my dirt bike gear. Like I have my knee guard or like my knee braces. I have the chest protector.
oof,
Like
yeah.
I am like dressed as I'm dirt biking because I thought that's kind of what you would wear.
Yeah.
And yes, it was a stagette, but they were in Hawaiian like t-shirts and shorts, and maybe it was Vans shoes. Like there was no protection at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a totally different mentality, honestly.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the mountain bike industry until now. Like last 5 years, I've been in it too because I do work on that side as well. And it's been an eye opener. It's not, I really thought it was going to be different than it is. It's amazing how a lot of the riders don't even think about possibly crashing. And it's like it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Come
When?
on.
Yes. Well,
I mean,
even,
otherwise, you're
yeah.
just not trying hard enough, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Just even like the knee protection. I have a thing of knees, like, yeah. Anyways, and that's something that I absolutely love about Leatt is the protection of every single thing. There's, I've even seen online the shoulder like guards,
Mm.
or there's wrist guards to, yeah, everything. I feel like they do a really good job of making sure you're protected.
Yeah, there are very few items that we don't make when it comes to dressing a rider. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
We even have impact shorts with padding on the hips, which I highly recommend.
Ooh, okay.
Uh-huh.
I might have to
Yeah.
get a pair.
Yeah.
Oh,
Unless
that's
you're
fun.
someone who doesn't fall over lots, but I sure do. So.
Yeah. Well, I need to invest in a pair, and I say that not just for dirt biking, but I've been skateboarding a lot with
Oh,
my
yeah, I
daughters,
saw that.
and
Yeah.
I fell on my hips, and it really hurt. So it's
Yeah.
like I need to get some type of padding.
Like a
So
common injury is getting what do you call it? A hemo something on your hips. Like if you
ooh,
land really hard, you can have like a pocket of liquid in there that doesn't go away and is a very annoying injury to deal with. And it's like just from hitting really hard on the side. So
right.
I don't know. More protection usually means you're going to be a bit hotter, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I'd rather be hot
Mm-hmm.
than unsafe. Mind you, in the Okanagan, it's very hot in the summer, so I actually
Mm-hmm.
don't dirt bike in the summer because
Okay.
I won't go without gear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I just pick
that's fair.
my seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you told me about your dirt bikes, but I actually had a question about any modifications you have done to your dirt bike.
Yeah, it's a good question. I actually haven't done much.
Okay.
I'm lucky because I'm kind of your average man's size. So like suspension wise and stuff, like I could
Yeah.
ride it pretty much right out of the box. I mean, we soften it up a little bit, but nothing too technical. And
Okay.
then I'd say, what did I do? I just put like straps on the front, a strap on the front, strap on the back so I can pick it up a little easier at times.
Yeah.
And rad guards for sure, and skid plate for sure, like any kind of armor for the bike because I am going to throw it
Yeah.
all over the place. Um, but that's it. And a graphic
Okay.
kit, very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Love
Can
it.
go faster because of it, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. I think the
Um,
thing I'm missing would be an exhaust. Like that would be the next thing, but I don't think it's going to change my riding at all because I'm not riding the bike to the max of its capabilities as it is. So,
when
mm.
you say exhaust, what do you mean? Like, um, yeah, tell me
Oh,
more.
like I wouldn't need a full exhaust, like the exhaust system that goes all the way up to the engine. I would
Mm-hmm.
just do a can probably, so just the muffler.
Oh,
It
okay.
will
Yeah.
sound different. It'll probably sound a little bit louder, a little bit more aggressive. But it
Right.
does usually open it up a bit for a little bit more horsepower.
Okay.
Again, I'm not looking for more horsepower. It has more than enough, but
Yeah.
it would sound better.
Yeah. Yes, it would.
Like my KX 450, 350, sorry, my KX 250, I had some 350s after that.
Yeah.
Um, Sounded badass. It was like the
Okay.
loudest bike out there. I loved it. Everyone's like, "What is that?" Because it had a
Yeah.
full exhaust on it. But
Okay.
um, but it was probably a bit obnoxious. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I love it though. I love those bikes. I rode a small little 85 and 105 SX KTM. But you would just hear that bike screaming like you knew I was coming because it would just
It's
be
like,
screaming in the cab. Yeah.
yeah.
Now, do I love that sound? I don't know, but everyone knew that Ange was coming.
There she is.
Yeah. Because we were just talking about protective gear, tell me what are you wearing? Yeah, tell me what you're wearing while you go ride.
Yeah. So as I said, I wear everything because
Mhm.
it's not a matter of if I'm gonna fall over, it's like for sure gonna happen. So, and because I've always believed that, I think I've escaped injury way more than I probably should have.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so helmet, of course, goggles, of course, neck brace. I wear my neck brace pretty much anytime I wear a full face helmet, unless I'm
Okay.
pedaling. I don't wear it then, but
Yeah.
um, chest protector, actually body protector. I always wear elbows as well. I feel naked if I don't have them, so I really don't trust my riding without elbow guards.
Mm-hmm.
For moto, definitely the impact shorts or pants, so the hip protection. Mountain bike, I only do that if I go to the park. If I'm
Okay.
pedaling, no, it's too hot.
Yeah.
I wear knee braces and boots.
Okay.
That covers it, I think.
Yeah. Nice. Um, what kind of knee braces are you rocking?
I'm wearing our Leatt C frames, the C
Okay.
frame
Yeah.
pros. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, they're awesome. I love them.
Yes, I
Um,
have those, and they fit like a
ah,
glove. I've had custom knee braces, and I just feel like those ones, the C brace, they fit in everything. They don't feel bulky. I don't even know that I'm wearing them. Like they
do
just
you have the
fit like a
hybrids or the
glove.
regulars?
I think I have the hybrids.
Yeah, so you put the sock on first,
Yes, yes. There
like
are
with
the
the knee protection in the sock,
yeah.
or is it a hard cap on the knee that is attached to the knee brace?
Nope, no. It's like a sleeve
It's a
first
separate
with
piece.
the
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
hybrids. Okay, that makes
Okay,
sense. Because
okay.
I wear the regular ones where the knee cap is floating and attached to this
Ah,
to the brace, and it's just because you said, oh, they're so low profile, but they're less low profile with the knee cup, I would say.
I see. Okay.
But that's what's nice about the hybrids is they're really, really compact, so they don't take up
Yeah.
a ton of space in your pants. But
Okay.
I love the C frame regardless for women specifically because it's a single hinged knee brace, which means you can actually adjust the width of the thigh part. And
Mm,
no one really makes a generic women specific knee brace. So we tend to have bigger thighs,
hmm
and smaller knees. Or,
hmm
that's pretty usual. So I always recommend C-frame for ladies. It's just the best way to get to as close as you can for custom fit as there is. Plus, we make it in a junior, that one. So
Oh, no
if
way.
you're a smaller lady, maybe the junior would work for you, depending on who you are.
Oh, wow. Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
I did
Sorry, I
notice
had to
actually
plug
that.
that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I was gonna say actually, I have noticed quite a few junior stuff on your website, which is
Yeah.
very exciting. Very exciting.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you're probably going to make the most mistakes when you're learning, right?
Yeah.
So makes sense to gear up everything, especially when you're not sure how you're going to
Yeah.
handle things.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, I want to know, you talked a little bit about this actually, but any tips on how to find the perfect protective gear that fits with your entire kit?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because every brand sort of fits a little bit differently. You know, we're sort of known, generally speaking, to be more of a Euro fit when it comes to the clothing and the protection fit, whereas boots and helmets are pretty North American fitting, I would say. Um, so honestly, I would go to your local shop and talk to the accessories person there. They're usually extremely knowledgeable. They deal with a ton of brands. They know how they'll tell you like Leatt fits like this and I don't know, some other brand fits like that, right? Like they'll kind of advise you. So if you're like, "Oh, I know that I have a wide foot," then maybe don't try on a CD. A CD is a very narrow fit. A Leatt, however, is actually a wide fit. So
Bit
like if
different.
you,
Okay.
if you have a super narrow foot, then you may want to go to a certain brand. And if you have a wider foot, our brand is better fit wise for that. But you really have to try things on. It's really the best way. But I would go talk to a specialist at a shop, um, and then they're just so knowledgeable too because they'll know, okay, this product has had lots of problems. I've had returns. I've had issues. I'm not going to sell you that one. I'm going to sell you the one that I know people are happy with. Or, I think it's important to listen to their experience and expertise. Um, and try on different things. And you do with protection, especially, you want it fitting snug because you don't want it to move in a fall, right? So having someone to fit you is key as well. So yeah, that's what I recommend is going to your local shop and get fitted properly.
Yes. I was just going to say, from my experience with sledding, I bought a neck brace and it would, like the neck brace, I had a CKX Titan helmet
Yeah.
and it restricted like so much. I couldn't move my head. And so I got a Leatt helmet and it fit like a glove. Like,
Mm,
and then
mm.
the chest protector from Leatt as well. Like it just all fit together. And so what I've been doing now is I always bring my neck brace in if I'm looking for a helmet or, another chest protector and make sure that it all fits and there's no restriction of movement or straining on my neck because I have a very sensitive neck.
That's a really, really good point. Yeah, definitely. If you already have certain pieces of equipment and you're trying to add another piece, yeah, bring those in for sure. And of course, like our helmet is designed to work with our neck brace really well. There are few helmets that don't, but they're like the big thing about the striking platform on the neck brace and how it actually works is you want a helmet ideally, ultimately, to have a flat base so that if you do bottom out on that striking surface, it's not going to like kick your neck in a weird angle,
Right.
which, a weird shape on the bottom of your helmet could just not be ideal for it. So, but yeah, you make a good point. Obviously, our stuff works really well together, but
Yeah.
and also we have different neck braces too. I think you're wearing the 3.5, am I right?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
the really light one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that actually sits the highest.
Ah,
So
interesting.
if you wanted something that gave you a little bit more um, movement, you could go to any of the other models and they'll be quite a bit lower
Okay.
and still do a great job. So anyway, we can talk about that later, but
Yeah. Yeah. I think at the time this would have been maybe 5 years ago. That's all that they had at the shop. or something.
That's possible. Neck
Yeah.
braces can get expensive, so I think a lot of shops will pick the least expensive one because it's a easier barrier to entry for most people, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you want more adjustability and you want more durability and more of that, like definitely go to a higher model and more what's the word? I keep nothing.
It's okay. That's all good.
More room to move.
Yeah. Well, it's
Um,
good to know because I
yeah.
didn't realize that there were. Oh my gosh, there
Other
were
ones?
different.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. You're like, I've got one. I don't need to know
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah. Well, this is all good. Like it's a learning thing. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing
No
all of this with
problem.
us because, sometimes you go in and it's like you do your research, but you don't realize that there are like other, you know, stuff products out
Yeah, and
there.
I think that's what I mean by going into your local shop and talking to an expert because they'll tell you their experiences. Sometimes it's personal experiences and it's not always, scientific, but I would definitely do your research however you
Yeah.
do that. But like you say, like you probably don't have a ton of time to do research if you're at home with the kids and then doing lots of other stuff and you're like, I have a neck brace already. Why would I need to know more?
Yeah.
It's normal.
It's
That's why I'm
working.
here.
So, yeah, but yeah, it's so interesting. Um, what are your top three picks for protective gear that you believe should be in everyone's gear bag?
It's tough because I believe you need all of it. But if I'm looking at like say you're someone who can only afford three pieces of gear to start, can I pick four?
Sure. Yes. Yes. Of course.
Okay. So I think about okay, what's going to save your life, right? What's the most important thing to protect? Your head, right? Your head. So you definitely need a good helmet. Because without your brain, I mean, there's not a whole lot going on. So neck brace for sure. Like I said, it has saved me countless amounts of times. I already know. Like at Leatt, they call me their crash test dummy because I'm a really good product tester. Not a great rider, but a good product tester. So,
Love it.
uh, and then body protector because again, your vital organs are all in there. You want to, soften the blow if you're going to take an impact or anything like that. So those would be the top three. Yeah, so then
Um,
the fourth thing that like if you're a new rider, I would definitely say get boots. You need boots. Like for sure boots because you're going to be putting your foot down a lot, especially when you don't necessarily mean to, it's going to happen. Those pegs are sharp and you just need to really protect your ankles.
yeah.
And then your knees and your hands with gloves and, everything else. But yeah, I would say
Yeah.
those would be the top three.
Amazing. I love it. And have you had any injuries yourself?
Yes, actually, surprisingly, not a ton of serious ones.
Okay.
Um, a lot of bruising, a lot of spraining, those types of things. But I wear all the gear, so I feel really good. I'm very lucky that I haven't done worse things or more. But I did tear my ACL
Okay.
in 2019 or 2018.
Okay.
Um, so that was kind of my first real injury experience.
Mm,
'Cause that one takes a long time to heal.
yeah, it does. Was this dirt biking?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
dirt biking.
Yeah.
I always wear knee braces. Like I wore knee braces then too. They weren't Leatt ones, but it doesn't matter. Like they were good knee braces.
Mm,
Um, what had happened is I didn't adjust them properly. Like most knee braces anyway have adjusters to stop you from going all the way straight. Like you should almost never be straight. You want to
yeah.
be stop at an angle somewhere so that your ligaments are never taut.
Mm,
Um, so I didn't know that. I just kind of put them on and went. And
mm,
so I know if I wasn't wearing those braces, I would have torn everything and I probably would be limping still today.
mm,
So what happened is I dropped the bike on my leg, I dropped it on my knee and it
mm.
hyperextended just enough to tear my ACL.
Oh, shoot.
But it saved all the other ones. My meniscus was fine, which is super rare. Usually, when you
Mm-hmm.
tear a ligament, you damage your meniscus as well. I
Mm-hmm.
did fracture my tibial plateau, but I mean, apparently you don't feel that.
Mm.
But it didn't hurt that bad because it was completely separated.
Okay.
But yeah, so I did physio and stuff to try to rebuild my muscles, and my plan was to live without it because I did not want surgery.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I was on the wait list for surgery, and then there was a cancellation, and it was winter time, and it was like perfect timing because I'm not really doing a lot of sports, and
Yeah.
so I went in and had it.
Okay. Okay.
And it's a year for women. It's a year
Right.
recovery. Um, Men, it's usually 9 months, they say, but physiologically we're different. And
Yes.
it takes basically they took a piece of my hamstring, folded it in four, and then bolted it in, and it takes a year for that to turn into an ACL. And
Right.
there's no speeding it up. There's nothing you could do.
Mm.
The best thing to do is just do your physio
Mm-hmm.
and don't get on a bike until it's done.
Right. Okay. Which is harder said than done, I'm
Oh
sure.
my God, because after 3 months you feel totally fine and
Right.
normal.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh,
but the re-tears happen, they said, in like it's like a huge percentage of re-tears before 9 months. So
okay.
if you can make it past 9 months, like
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Oh man. Why? I mean, yes, I've heard of ACL injuries, but I've seen people hop on, right? Like pretty quick after a reconstructive surgery.
Well, yeah, they're just not supposed to.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky. My physio was actually an ACL specialist,
Okay. Oh, that's
so
interesting.
it just happened to be that way. Like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
seek him out or anything. It just happened to be the person I fell on.
Mm-hmm.
But he was so good, and I like he moved away, so I'm kind of sad
Oh.
because he was really, really, really thorough, and
Mm-hmm.
he walked me through it all, explained it all to me. I was like religious with my physio because they told me your knee will never be the same.
Gotcha.
And that's when I realized, hey, when things happen to you, you don't always bounce back. Huh. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, so I'm like determined to get my knee as back to normal as possible or better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it is better.
Okay.
Except that if I do some yoga or whatever, I can't like sit all the way down on my heels.
Right.
But that's
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I was gonna ask how your knee's feeling now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the knee that I did, the right leg, it's stronger than
Okay.
my left. Like if I'm standing on one leg, I can balance easily on that side. But then your ligaments stretch over time, right? So my left one that didn't get surgery is looser than my new one. So I'm a little more wobbly on my old one.
Okay.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. Bodies are so
Fascinating.
fascinating. Yes. That's the word. Okay. As a sales and brand manager, I'm sure you're on the road quite a bit. How do you balance like work time and then time on the bikes and family and friends?
That's the $1 million question. Let me know if you figure it out. Uh, yeah, balance is a tough one for me. It's something I'm constantly working on. I am passionate about what I do, so I tend to work way too much. And yeah, it's actually a constant problem. It's not, I haven't figured it out. I wish there was
Yeah.
a magical pill, but I'm lucky. Like I've been with my husband a long time, so he's really understanding. He knows me really well. He knows that I need to just go and travel and do the things I need to do. Um, but he also reels me in because I don't know how to say no and say no to things and actually say, okay, I don't need to do this year. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if
Mm-hmm.
things are going to be fine, the world's not going to fall apart if I don't do this. Like he really keeps me grounded.
Okay.
Um, so I'd say it's a team effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my friends are understanding too. Lucky for me, I have friends all over the place, so that when I do travel, I'm actually seeing friends wherever I go. So it's a good excuse or a good way to keep in touch with them and keep it real. And my friends at home, they understand, like they know, oh, she's in Europe. Okay, we won't bother her.
Right.
She'll let us know when she's back.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I'm lucky that way.
Yeah.
They understand. And if they don't, I guess they're just not my friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing. I know, yeah, it can be a bit of a juggle when you are traveling and getting seat time, spending time with friends and family. So,
What is hard though is like my riding friends here, they'll ride like my dirt bike friends, for example, they'll ride almost every weekend or every
mm,
Tuesday they do a Taco Tuesday ride.
uh,
And I miss most of it.
yeah,
And so I do feel like I miss out and I'm not honing my skills like they are because like I just don't have the same amount of time to ride
yeah,
and because I do all these other disciplines as well, like
hmm,
there's no focus on one or the other. So
yeah,
like your progression slows because it's spread out, you
yeah.
know. But I do think that they understand. So or they're trying to understand. Some of them are newer friends and I think they're kind of like, what is it you do? I don't really get it. I'm like, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
probably going to ask me that next, but
Well, let's see. What is my question next? Well, the next question is, do you have any advice for women that are in a similar position as you and are finding it hard to balance work and ride life?
yeah, get help. It's okay to seek external help. Like everybody needs someone to talk to, whether it's a counselor or a friend who really is good at listening. I'd
Mm,
say it's good to have someone to bounce ideas off of. Um, I think a mentor would be great. I still don't really have one, but it is something that I've been searching for. I think that would help me going forward as well. Uh, but yeah, just don't go it alone. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not know everything
mhm,
right away. You know, I think it's a learning curve, especially when you're first into this type of position. And I don't know, like obviously in the motorcycle industry, it's very male dominated, and it's not something that I think about though. Like I see myself as an equal. I don't question that. And it rarely comes up, to be honest. So I'm myself. I'm outspoken and I'm passionate. And if they have a problem with it, then I guess they have a problem with me. So that's, I don't know. I don't know what, just be yourself, be confident. Yeah.
Love it. Okay. All right. Okay, we had a little bit of technical difficulties. My mic apparently stopped working. Okay, so we're back. And I
Welcome
appreciate
back.
you. Yeah, welcome back. Appreciate you, Zoe, for being very patient with all of this. Okay, well, we want to switch gears here, and we're going to talk about sponsorships. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you look for when you have riders applying for a sponsorship.
Yeah, so like it's an evolving thing, you know, but I think it's a little tricky because Canada is such a large country, right? And we try to have some representation everywhere. But of course, that's not possible because we're so spread out in Canada. So we try to target major centers first, and then we look at different disciplines and try to get a little bit of everything. So that's really my view on it. Especially when I first started this job, I threw a lot of stuff at the wall just to see what would stick. And then kind of like, okay, that didn't work. This did work. Let's continue this. Let's try something new. So there's lots of kind of trial and error. But now I'm into this 5 years. We've got a lot of experience now with what works and doesn't for us. And so I guess what we look for in a rider, we want someone who is positive, who has visibility in one way, shape, or form, someone who's really genuine, and who's a good person, and respected by their peers. That's really important as well. So I'd say that's pretty vague, but those are really important to, at least to me. Like each marketing manager and person that's deciding who to sponsor will have their own set of things that are important to them. But I'd say, like, I work really closely with our distributors on this, so I don't decide alone. I work with the team to decide. and they tend to agree with me a lot. So because we do share the costs usually on sponsoring riders, depending at what level and all that. So.
Okay. And I'm just curious, so for somebody that is interested in sponsorship or an ambassador program, do you recommend that they fill out a form online or, build out resume, proposals, cover letters? What do you have for us?
Totally. Cover letter is important because it's more personalized. We kind of get to see what are they, a little bit of their personality in the cover letter. And then in the rider resume, that's really important because, I work with adventure, moto, MX, enduro or MX, mountain bike. I can't possibly know every type of series that's out there or every type of rider out there. I don't follow everybody, you know what I mean? It's really hard for me to know. So don't assume that the person on the other end, and it is a person, not a bot, is going to know who you are, right? So you need to sell yourself. So the resume tells you the history of the rider, what they've done so far, and then it also should say what their plans are for the next year, maybe 3 years, their goals. Are always really important. So for me, that's important. I may only look at it once, but that'll tell me, yes, I'm interested in talking to this person further, or not, right? Yeah.
Okay, and so would you think out of the two, like cover letters or rider resume, which one would be more important? Like, what would you rather see?
Oh, if it was one or the other, definitely the resume.
Okay.
Because I need to know. I have an idea of where this person is coming from and who they are, get a good feel for that. Earlier you asked if there are a form to fill out, and for moto in Canada there is. Kimpex on their site, they have a ambassador page that you can fill out. Don't expect an answer though, because they get a lot and they'll only reach out if they're interested in knowing more. And don't be offended either. I mean, the team isn't very big, and once we have our riders picked for a while, it's pretty set for a while. We try to keep riders for a long time.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. Another question is what do you look for from your athletes for the season when they are hired? Like, are you looking for posts, stories, videos, photos, or anything extra?
Yeah, we usually have a contract, and then in the contract it would outline the things that are expected, and typically we'll ask for a certain amount of posts per month, and it's very on the ambassador level, it's very light. Usually, if we're picking you, it's because we already like what you're doing, so that it's really basic. It's like, hey, just tag us. Use this tagline and make sure that it's, family friendly and that it's showing us in a good light. And, if there's a product that you don't like, let's talk about it and find a solution, and if we can't get beyond that, then we usually part ways, because if for us being genuine is the most important, or for me, at least it is. And if you don't like what you're wearing or using, that's going to show. Even if you don't say anything, our followers are fickle. They can see right through, and if they don't like something, they'll just unfollow. So it's much better that you're honest and genuine and all that. So those are important features. Yeah.
Awesome. I do have a question from a follower. It says, I want to avoid being salesy to my audience. What is the best approach as an athlete to promote a service and or product online?
Yeah, that's a really good point. People see through that too, right? Being salesy. I think, again, like if we ask a rider to highlight a product, it will usually be like, okay, I need you to highlight something that you really like. And then it's not as salesy if you believe it. Again, the genuinity part of it, like you believe it and you just talk about it, then you're passionate about it. You're not trying to push something you don't believe in. And I think that comes across as someone who's passionate and doesn't come across as a salesy, I'm trying to push this. But I mean, I'll know, like if I have a rider who say loves our goggles and has told me so many times that they love our goggles, I might come up with an idea like, hey, it'd be really cool if you did a piece on goggles,
Mhm.
a story or a quick reel or something because you like them, and let's do something fun with it.
Yeah.
But I'm not an athlete manager. I don't have time for that. And I tell the riders that every time, is that you're kind of on your own. Like, we'll dress you, we'll give you the stuff, but you keep doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
and if you have any issues, reach out, but like, don't wait for me to tell you what we want to see.
Right.
And I do get, especially a lot of the younger riders will ask for advice, and I'll give them advice, but I also let them know that we're not looking for someone to be a robot. We just
Right.
want you to be you. And yeah.
Which is the beauty about it, like,
yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's the beauty about being
if we've
creative.
chosen you, it's because you're bringing something different to the table or something that we're lacking. Like you have to look at it as a business too, right? Like we're not just sponsoring to people just for fun. Like, yeah, we support the sport for sure, but like all sponsors are always looking for a return on investment, right?
Yeah.
So you have to understand that we chose you because you're bringing something different to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if you're becoming a little stale or whatever, maybe it's no longer the right thing for the brand, so you got to try to keep moving forward and think outside the box and keep it fresh.
Yeah. Awesome. I think those are great points for sure. Okay. If you were to whisper in the ear of young Zoe, who was just getting into motorsports, what would you tell her?
Oh, I was such a different person back then. Don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. I would tell her, work hard, reach for the stars, have big goals. Don't listen to the negativity out there. Be confident in yourself and know that you are worthy and that you do belong here.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I know. I was like, it's just like giving your like younger child, self-child a hug. That's awesome. Okay, and then for those that are thinking about getting into motorsports, do you have any advice to share?
Do it. You won't regret it. It's really empowering. But always wear protection.
Love it. Okay, and
my shortest answer yet.
Yeah. A quote you live by.
Remember to dress for the crash, because there's only two types of riders out there. Those who have crashed and those who will. And I lived by that in other parts of my life too, not just riding.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I heard it actually from like years ago when I worked at a dealership. One of our reps that came in, it was something that he always said, and it resonated so much with me because it's like, it's true. I mean, you're not invincible. You're going to crash, even if it's not your fault. Maybe a deer runs out in front of you. Maybe someone else T-bones you, right? You don't know. It's not all in your control, right?
Yeah.
So dress for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. Where can we find you on socials?
Don't bombard me with sponsorship requests.
Right. I know.
But my Instagram is MotoZoe, so MOTOZOE.
Okay.
And I mean, that's really, I'm on Facebook, but I'm not really that active there. So
yeah,
really Instagram's probably the best spot.
Okay, cool. Okay, and I have some rapid fire questions. So we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on this. I know we're on a time crunch. So number one is, imagine this. You and 3 people have an all-inclusive weekend retreat that involves dirt biking. It can be anywhere in the world, even if it's real or not. Where are you going and who are you bringing? This can be people you know. It could be people you don't know or celebrities.
Ooh, oh my goodness. And no prep for this one. Okay, so no, I think I'd want to go with my friends. I feel comfortable with my friends, and the 3 people I would pick would be Carolyn Genovese. She's a good friend of mine I ride with a lot, and she's a photographer as well in the sport. Kristen Park, because she's an amazing teacher and just an awesome human being. And Jessie P, because she is the life of the party, and you just can't have as much fun if she's not there. So
amazing. And where are you going?
And where am I going? It's tough. Like, there's so many great spots, but I think I'd like to go to Baja or something.
Ooh, yeah. That would be nice.
It's on the list. I mean, I've got a lot on the list, but I think that would be a fun girls trip.
Yes, 100%. Well, if you ever organize.
Yeah. And then I would invite maybe a mechanic. Although Kristen is really good with that stuff. So.
Oh, there we go. Okay. And then I have, if you could only ride one type of train for the rest of your life, what would it be? Sand, mud, roots, rocks, anything other?
Fast and flowy.
Ooh,
I love fast and flowy. So actually, like Okanagan riding.
Yes.
Like, I'm really scared. I haven't actually ridden dirt bikes on the coast, and I'm scared to because it's so wet and rooty, and I'm terrified of that because we don't have that here.
Yeah.
But fast, flowing, and loose, I'm good with.
Okay. And it's like Bear Creek. I feel like such an amazing rider every time I go there because I'm like, oh, this is so nice, and you're so fast. And
as
then
long
you
as
come
there's
out
no
here.
like logs in the way, then I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. That's a good answer. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, that wraps up the show. Thank you so much for joining me, Zoe. And I am so sorry for some of these interruptions we've had, but this has been such a fun conversation. And I think you've shared so much with us. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on the show. It was really fun.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in today's show. Please rate and review this podcast. I would forever be thankful and grateful. Share it with your friends, family, and whoever you feel would enjoy these types of conversations in the dirt bike, snowmobile, and motorsports community. If you are looking to support the show, I do have a few affiliate links in the show notes. And if you're looking for some confidence in the digital space, learning how to brand yourself, edit your epic sends, and just being the vibe, being your true self, your authentic self, shoot me a message. You can reach me over on my website, angelisaedwards.com. And as always, I am rooting for you, and keep killing it safely, and I'll see you next week.